One of the questions that we've been emailed is, how did you program your Apex controller? Well, it's actually pretty simple. When you set up a new Apex controller, you need to make sure that you install the VDM module. What the VDM module does is add something called variable speed ports. When you have a full Apex controller, you have 4 variable speed ports here, but those are used obviously by 2 Vortec Ecotech pumps. Well, with the VDM module, it adds multiple variable speed ports, which you can see here. And obviously, as you can tell, right now the lights are on sunrise mode and they're manually on. Well, to add it, what you need to do is access your Apex controller online and then scroll down and go to where it says module setup, which is right here. So when you click on module setup, that loads it, and you'll see all the different modules which are connected to your Apex controller. Here, obviously, it shows a display, the Energy Bar 8, and then our WXM module, which is connecting and controlling the Vortec pumps. Well, right underneath here is the VDM module. You'll see the hardware revision, which obviously there hasn't been more than one release, so it's just the first one. And then you'll see right here is the software revision, which tells you OK, meaning it's running the latest firmware updates. When you first connect it, depending on how long ago it's been since you updated your firmware, it may be time to update it, so it'll say old or outdated. So then you just go over here to where it says module, and then you can make firmware changes by selecting the module. And then when it loads it, you can actually do this where you select update firmware, submit module change, and then that would update the firmware to the VDM module. Well, here what we're going to do is actually show you how to set up some profiles. So what you need to do when you first set it up and you have everything plugged in and programmed, you would need to select an outlet. So we'll go ahead and just select this one right here that's called daytime. We'll just fool around with that. Well, daytime is when you have your light set up initially. So here what we did was we typed it in and named it daytime. For dimming your LEDs, you want to select the ramp function. If it's a pump, like a Tunzi pump using the VDM module, then you would select pump, and then Vortec for the different Vortec modes. And if you have an aqua illuminations fixture, then you can select weather. Well, here we're going to select ramp. Well, we already have the sunrise one, so we'll go ahead and just go back to that one instead. So the way that we have our lights set on is we actually have the sunrise set, and it does it in minutes, so we have the sunrise effect last over about a 2-hour period. The start intensity is 0, and then it goes up to 100%, because during the day, obviously, you want your lights running at full intensity. At the end of the day, we have a sunset one, which is programmed. And then sunset, obviously, is to 2-hour period, and it goes from 100% to 0. Well, once you've done that and you've programmed it, it's time to go to your outlet. So when you click on the outlet setup, you can go down and then you can select the different outlets which are associated with your Apex controller. So here, what I'm going to do is find the variable speed port that I assigned to my left, center, and right LEDs. So I'm going to go here to LED left, which I appropriately timed LED left. And then this is where you program it. Fallback is generally a setting used for an Apex controller when if the power's out, then it goes back to a fallback setting. Here I just had it turn off. Set to off means that instead of being manually on all the time, it relies on these conditions which are typed in here underneath instead. So the way that I have it programmed, at least for the tank that I have at home, if it's 10 o'clock in the morning, to noon, then it runs that 2-hour sunrise period, meaning it takes about 2 hours to go from 0 to 100%. And then from 12 o'clock to about 7 o'clock at night, it's just on with full brightness. Then underneath here, from about 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it does the dimming period where it goes from about 100% down to 0. Now, with dimmable LEDs, I found that usually when you do that, it doesn't go all the way down from about 15% to 0. It usually just kind of gradually fades and then just turns off. So my lights actually end up shutting off right around 8:50 to 8:45 instead. Once you're done with that and you've programmed everything, then you just click on Update Outlet and it saves your programming. So once again, you do that for all of your different LED pendants. So here I have it for left, center, and then right. But I actually have the lights plugged into a third outlet on my Apex controller. And here, with the lights, I have the different times set up where the lights end up turning on at 10 o'clock and then shutting down at 9. If for some reason with LEDs, which we know that's really not a possibility, if the temperature in the aquarium gets above 82 degrees, then it would shut off. And it uses the temperature probe to act as the determining factor as to whether or not the temperature is too high or not. And then hysteresis, because they're LEDs and it's not like a metal halide ballast where you actually need it to cool down for a long period of time, I just have it set to 10 minutes. Whichever you feel comfortable with is really up to you. That's kind of a brief, quick synopsis as to how you program your Apex controller using the VDM module. So once again, just to quickly go back over it, when you use a VDM module, you have to make sure that you actually have it activated. So you plug it in and you select VDM and make sure that you're running the latest firmware, which it'll tell you here. Once you're done with that, then you want to go down and actually set up a profile. The profile is your sunrise and sunset and then your daylight period, which you can see here. We have a sunrise period and then there is a sunset period, and then obviously during the day it just runs on. So then you go back and you go to your outlet, and this is where you select the variable speed port outlet, which it'll tell you. Base meaning it's the one that's connected directly to the Apex controller, and then here the different 5.1 series, which are the additional 6 variable speed ports that you get when you have your Apex controller using the VDM module. I rename these ones available 1, 2, and 3 in case I ever add or do something else with them. But then you have LED left, LED center, and LED right, which have all of the same different configurations here. Then you go to your main outlet, and when you go to your main outlet, if you actually have the lights physically plugged into the Energy Bar 8, which you can or you don't have to, it's really up to you, then I go down to my lights here, and it will show you the different programs that I have there. So that's pretty much it. That kind of briefly explains how you program your Apex controller using your dimmable LEDs and the VDM module. If you have any questions, just email us at info@DailyAquatics.com or just leave a comment on our YouTube channel and we'll go ahead and respond to that.